Hey, what's going on, guys? You're listening to Talk4, the quick fire podcast where we ask four great questions to unique and interesting people. Up here today on Talk4 is your host, Louis Skupien. That's me. And our guest for today, Ken Coleman, who's going to be answering our questions today. Ken, please introduce yourself and give us a quick rundown of what you do before I fire some questions.
Yeah, Ken Coleman here, and I'm a radio host, author, and speaker, and I am completely dedicated to helping people discover what their unique purpose is in their work. I just simply believe that everyone was created to fill a unique role in your work. There's purpose in your work, and that unique role is something that the world needs from you. So you have to do it because somebody out there is counting on you, and life's too short to just work for a paycheck. So the new book is From Paycheck to Purpose, helping people with the 7 stages to discover and do what they were created to do.
Brilliant stuff. Very excited, actually, because I do have one of the questions here specifically actually about what you just said. So I think without further ado, let's get straight into them because I'm keen to hear what you have to say. So for question number one, what are your thoughts on people who are pulling in high paychecks, but through jobs that make them unhappy? Because people with financial security might feel reluctant to move away from that safety, even though it would be what is best for their health and happiness. What's your take on that?
That they would rather be miserable than uncomfortable. And what's going on there is because they're really good at their job, they've got the talent, so they have a high level of proficiency, obviously reflected in their pay, but they're miserable at it. They don't love it. And over time, if you don't love something, it will become a form of misery. However, we humans are more reluctant to take on change, which requires us to face the unknown. So that's what I mean by they would rather be miserable than uncomfortable because they know what they've got already and they'd rather just deal with it, medicate it somehow, some way through various forms of medication and dulling the pain, if you will, than they would take on something unknown and pivot and move towards something on purpose. That's the idea. They would rather be miserable than deal with the change that makes them so uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally agreed. I know way too many people who get stuck into that sort of safety mode. And even though it's not potentially what's best for them, it's a better move for their health over the long run to potentially do something else. So if you had someone, in this scenario, what would you say to them to kind of give them that push to, make that move from what they're doing right now to something that's potentially going to help them in the long run, even if it isn't financially so viable instantly?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And I think we have to take away the financial risk in that conversation because I'm never going to teach or guide somebody to jump off of a cliff and to do something irresponsible financially. Because, first of all, it's not necessary. It might take some time and there might be some sacrifice in there, but ultimately, you don't have to interrupt income. And I don't think you have to sacrifice income.
Hmm.
Not all the time. There are some instances where maybe that is a part of the deal, but it's worth it and you can make enough. But the first thing I'm going to do is after I make that kind of statement to kind of say, okay, let's get our head right, is I want to connect to their dreams, connect to their heart. What do they long to do? Who are the people they want to help? What's the problem or problems they long to solve? What are the solutions of those problems that fire them up? And we match that up with talent. And so that's the three-part process, the three indicators that I teach about in the book From Paycheck to Purpose. It's a part of my Get Clear stage one of the 7 stages to discovering and doing what you were born to do. Stage one is Get Clear. And we look at talent, what we do best, hard skills, people skills, character traits. Those are premium tools that we will use to do work we love, which is what I call passion. You just love the work, the task itself. You look forward to it. You lose track of time when you're engaged in it. High emotion, high devotion. And then third is mission, which is results that matter deeply to us. All work creates results. We want to do work that we're good at, that we love, that ultimately produces results that we have a really strong connection to. And so, where talent, passion, and mission are in alignment, it really becomes an arrow pointing to the world at work where there are multiple jobs and career paths and even dream jobs that are on purpose because they're in alignment with who you uniquely are. So I want them to begin to dream and wonder because I think that the answers lie within the heart and answering the question, the people I want to help, the problem I want to solve, the solution I want to provide. That's where I would steer those people to begin to see things that maybe they've never seen before.
Brilliant. That's a fantastic answer. I think that's going to help a lot of people for sure. Well, let's move on to question number 2 now. I mean, we really did a good job on question number 1 there, to be honest. But when we talk first impressions, what would you say is the checklist to making a lasting first impression when going to your interview or meeting clients?
Um, I would say a cocktail of enthusiasm, curiosity, and humility. I'll break those down. So I think enthusiasm is wildly attractive. I think a little sparkle in your eye. You don't have to be bouncing off the walls like you just drank an energy drink, and that's energy. I'm talking about enthusiasm, which is a zest, a zeal that's evident in your face, in your body, in your voice. Just an enthusiasm for the opportunity to meet somebody or to do a job interview. Enthusiasm is very, very attractive. It gives off a light,
Yeah.
and it is very easily mirrored by the interviewer, and it's very, very attractive. Curiosity, I think a general curiosity um, in a job interview is what sets you apart. I think people go into job interviews conditioned to answer questions instead of thinking about the opportunity to ask questions as well. The job interview in this specific question is just as much for you as it is for the interviewer. When you think ahead of time, what are the things that I want to know? What are the things that I need to know? And you have a genuine curiosity about the company, about the role, about what it takes to win in the role, those kind of things. What's the culture like? That curiosity also sets you apart. And then the final piece is humility, and that's again not acting like you own the place or you've arrived or that you are God's gift to this company or this position, but a genuine humility of gratitude for the opportunity, gratitude to be considered, um, a genuine sense of, I just want to be a part of something bigger than myself. I think those three things, that's a wonderful cocktail for a great first impression.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree with actually with what you said there. There is a certain energy that you can detect on people when they talk to you, and in anything, to be honest, you can always kind of get that vibe from a person, can't you? About what they want to do and how enthusiastic they are about doing something, and then obviously what you said as well about how they can sometimes come off as cocky or something as well. But there's definitely a humility aspect there. And what you said, I think, are the sort of traits in a person that would definitely help them in the long run in terms of making connections and just being a better person for sure as well.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think a genuine receptiveness to the world. Like, imagine for a second if you had that antenna on the back of your neck and you could just pull that antenna up when you were in public, whether it was personal or professional. This idea of just being aware of others, being aware of circumstances around you, looking for opportunities to add value, whether it just be an attaboy, attagirl, or a question, how's life? How's everything going? I think that's just really the likability factor is looking for opportunities to be interesting, looking for opportunities to be interested.
Definitely. Yeah, it should be a giver, not a taker in many ways, I think.
Hmm.
So, question number 3 now. This one actually has a lot to do with what you said at the very beginning, and I'm very, very interested to see what you have to say about this. So, you talk a lot about everyone having a unique purpose they're meant to fulfill. I'm keen to dive into that a bit more and ask you about your thinking behind this. Do you believe that we all have a purpose and we all put here on this planet to do our part and fit into our role? Or do you think that the part has to be created by us and therefore we can control what that part is going to be?
Hmm. It's a very interesting way that you delineate that. I think it's more of the former than the latter, but I think the way you position that is interesting. I think that every person was created with those three elements: talent, passion, and mission. I just do. Everybody on the planet is created, comes into this world with some talent that they can then sharpen into skill. And I believe that every person has that heart, that emotion, that that joy, that drive towards a certain type of work, a task. And then I think we all long to make a contribution, make a difference in the world. We all want to make our mark. So from that standpoint, yeah, I think that everyone has purpose, and there's a unique role that we're supposed to fill. I'm not talking about a position or a job title. I'm just mean the role itself. And
Mm.
it's that combination of talent, passion, mission, which I talked about earlier. However, the way that you worded that second option, I don't think it's a choice between the two. I think it's a yes and. And I think that we do with that information of talent, passion, and mission. I think we do then create our role. We find our niche based on that information, and we dig and we build a foundation and we expand and kind of build off of that platform that I teach. So I think it's a yes and to that question.
Cool. So you definitely seem to think that talent is something that needs to be nurtured a lot more, and it is your gift or your unique gift when
Hmm.
coming into this world, and you need to pursue that. And yeah, I mean, I think people tend to lose out on their talent sometimes just to go maybe a way that isn't in their best interest in some ways, when talent is technically what defines a person in some ways. It's their unique aspect.
Yeah, I think it's one part of the equation. I really do. I think the three parts are there, though. I think talent is not enough.
Mm.
That's you got a lot of high earners that are in jobs that are they're crushing it financially because of their talent. But they're miserable. They're not happy, and it's because they're missing the passion and the mission. Work they love, results that connect to their heart. So, what I would say is that talent is like it's like think of it an old, uh, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s tool, and then as we hone the talent and we get knowledge and experience applied to that talent, then that goes from an old hand saw, if you will, to a power saw,
Mm.
a premium tool that we then use to do work we love to produce results that matter to us.
That does tie nicely back into question one as well with what you said there, I think. And yeah, totally. The three things you mentioned, talent and, nurturing that, I think that's definitely the way to go as a person looking for, getting into their industry or just finding their purpose, as you would probably say.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, again, you know, if we just simplify this, um, then it's so much easier to see so many different ways for you to make your unique contribution. And when you do it, people say about you, you were born for this. You're a natural,
Mm,
you know. And again, that's when we step into who we really truly are.
brilliant. Right. So for the final question, question number four, if you could wind back time and give your younger self one key bit of advice that would have helped you in your journey, what would you tell yourself?
That patience is a superpower, and you need to learn how to develop it, turn it into a skill, not just a discipline, but be really good at being patient, eyes open, eyes up, staying active, persisting, and understanding that in order to stay with it, it's not just about getting up every day and willing yourself to persist. You must be patient, and you've got to understand the power of patience. And if you can continue on, but also know that there's a weight involved, and you have the discipline to then learn to develop the muscle, if you will, the skill of waiting for the right things, not waiting for the others. It's really a skill. And I would tell my younger self that patience is maybe the greatest of all virtues.
Brilliant. That's a fantastic answer. Thank you very much. So now, before we wrap this up, it is time for the shameless plug. Ken, please feel free to promote anything you're working on, want people to take a look at, or just something you believe in.
Yeah, well, I poured my heart and soul into the 7 stages: get clear, get qualified, get connected, get started, get promoted, get the dream job, give yourself away. And we unpack the stages in great practical detail with very applicable steps and actions to take in this book, From Paycheck to Purpose. And this book is for anybody who's simply not where they want to be in their professional life. They don't feel like they're on purpose, like in their vocation and professional life, they don't have a sense of belonging and feeling like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Or, they are on the path and they know what it is, but they're not quite sure how it ends up. They're looking for the best path, or they know all of that, but something like failure or fear or family or finances is holding them back. This book is for any of those people because it'll help them see the clear path to be who they know they were born to be.
Brilliant. Ken, thank you so much for joining me today for the Talk4 show. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Thrilled.
Brilliant. Signing off for now, guys. See you in the next episode.